All right, welcome everyone. It's really nice to have you here, those of you who are joining us from Facebook and those of you in the Zoom here with us. I want to welcome everybody. This is the first show in a series called Process, and this is one of the ways we are maintaining our visual arts program at ātac this fall. As you know, our galleries are closed and we're trying to keep our community connected virtually. And one of the ways we're doing that is to talk about art and the process of making art. And we're really excited about the different artists we have. This is Cilantro, the cat, and in this series. And so today, or for our first, we have Maria Servellon joining us, and she is an educator and filmmaker and Boston-based arts advocate. And tonight she'll be talking to us about vulnerability and identity in the digital medium. And so with that, I have one more thing to add. I will be monitoring Facebook comments, and I can bring any of them into the Zoom as well and make sure that if anybody has any questions for the talkback, you can just type them into the Facebook comments and I'll be able to relay them in. So thank you so much. And with that, Maria, thank you so much for being here with us.
Yeah, thanks for having me with ātac. It's been quite a change, but you know, during this time with COVID and pandemic and closing of the galleries and museums, and so I am always grateful to be able to take time to chat with people about what I'm up to. And unfortunately, this time brought a lot of like closures of different shows that I had, but I've been able to bring this work that I do online, and it's actually been really, it's been quite the pivot, the word that we hear often. Um, but I have lots of folks now that are home and are curious about more of the work that I do. So there's always some kind of blessing in disguise when it comes to art making and being able to shift. Um, so I'm Maria Servellon. So thanks for being here. And I am a multimedia artist. I'm from Boston, Massachusetts, and I'm a filmmaker. I teach at Emerson College and at Northeastern. And I do a lot of arts activism. I really, the arts for me is like part of like my everyday life. And so to be able to, and as life goes, you have to like shift and pivot and um yeah, like you have to like be on your feet for lots of things. So that is what this time period has been like for me, where I'm like, okay, so I have my work, and so now I need to shift it over to online. But it's also great because I get to, have people see my work in person and be able to interact with it more and sit back and like just to, enjoy it. So I am, so when it comes to, filmmaking, I do fiction, I do writing, directing, and producing. I am all about creating magical, realist works, things relating to dreams and memories and layers of identity. So to be able to, break down those type of layers of who are you to your core, right? So what are you consisted of? We're all different like quilts of different experiences that are not just limited to gender, race, religion, politics, sexual orientation, um, heritage, anything that, you you fill out in surveys and you're checking off of like what is and what you are and what you're not, and then it's like it doesn't even appear there sometimes. So so for me, I don't try to base identity off of that. For me, identity is, a mixture um, of inspiration, dreams, and memories, and things that sometimes we can't even explain. We can't even like really pinpoint it and to really put a name to it, put a label to it, try to identify it. Like, oh, I am that. Like 100%. I am like, as that as you can get. So that, I don't think that's very realistic. I think that we draw inspiration from different things and different people, different places. There's so many different aspects of what makes us us. So so when it comes to my filmmaking work, that's something that I explore. But obviously, when it comes to filmmaking, there's like guidelines and there's like set of rules. Can't break the rule of thirds, can't break the 180-degree rule. So like film festivals don't want, your film to be more than 20 minutes long or 15 minutes long. Like, hey, if it's 5 minutes or less, it's even better. So there's like constrictions. And I think that that's when I lean more towards my multimedia work, because that is when I can do what I want, right? So when it comes to my multimedia work, so I work in projection and installation based work and video sculpture. So there's film and then there's video. Like film, we have the narrative. And so, or it can be experimental. With video, there's a much more like broader like spectrum, technical spectrums that we don't have to um that we can manipulate, that we can um you know like change up the quality. Like, oh, the quality is not that great. So that is what that's what I enjoy, playing and going into both realms. And so I went to UMass Boston for studio art, and I was like, this is great. And I enjoyed it because I was like, drawing and painting and things like that. And so I was like, well, what about video? Like, I've always documented experiences of myself and of things that I see in people and places. And so I was like, I want to play more. I want to, like, test things out and fail, like, and like, digital is not something you can feel. Like, if I were to work with like yarn or paints or anything like that, it's just like in the digital realm. So um so yeah, so that's how I started to go into different mediums within video. So it's like, okay, so it's on a TV and or a screen, and then is that it? No. Like, what if we start to do something with this screen? So what if, okay, so we're playing a detective film on the screen. What if we can move the screen into a locker, and there's like caution tape everywhere, and there's like prints in the room, and there's like clues. So like, and so now the environment is changing this screen. And so this environment is becoming part of the screen. Great. What if we grab a projector and we start projecting this image onto a wall, like how big can we project it? How much or how many? Can we do 2 projectors? Can we project it on the ceiling? Can we project it off the floor? Can we project it off you or me or my body, or off an item? So we start having this like start to bend the conventions of, just shooting, like, just shooting the screen directly onto the wall, or we just sit there and we just watch it. Can we remove chairs when we watch this piece? Can we bring some music? Can we dance while we watch this piece? Can we have conversations? Can I bring my piece to a party? So yeah, so this is how I just kind of started to play with this concept of I don't want my work to just appear on a screen. I want it to do things, and I want people to, have different experiences with it. So that is what this is like when I started to do the basis of my work. So I'm going to today, so I give you this, basis of the foundation of how I approach my work. And so I'm going to chat, and I'm going to create a piece today during our chat, and I obviously encourage people to type in the chat of an image that they want me to include in this piece. And so what's going to happen is, so I use the software called AV Mixer Pro. And so this is like a DJing software that they use for concerts. And I love music. I love concerts. I love the experience. So this is a software that I was like, oh, I was at a concert and I'm like, oh, I love all the visuals. They're so crazy and cool. What if, what if there's like a narrative? What if I start to make a story out of what we're seeing on the screen, or with the band playing or anything like that? So so things are going to start getting kind of wonky. Things are going to start to get like let me share my screen. Oh, can I get the screen share permission going? And if you just tuned in, welcome. So this is going to be interesting. So let's see. So if you'd like me to include an image, you are welcome to,
Can you do it now?
Yes. Okay, great. So we're going to try to do an experiment with our pieces, and so we're making like a piece together. And so you're welcome to type in the chat of an image that you want me to use, or like an object or anything like that. Let's see. So AV Mixer Pro is a piece of software that's mostly used for concerts. And so I was like, well, I want to do something different with it. I want to create a story, because I feel like I'm a mix of many things, many experiences and feelings and things like that. So let me just pull things out as I start to get ready. So when I create a digitally mixed piece, so a person who does this kind of work is called a VJ. And it's very different than the MTV VJ back in the day, where, you'd play a video and like, oh, hey guys, like this is the the new video from NSYNC. Here it is. So that there's that definition of VJ. But the one that is now more so being used as that one became a relic is of somebody who mixes video and mixes images and is able to start, creating some effects and things like that. So here I am. Hi. And so we are live with this piece. And so I am currently, I just got out of class. And so I am in my office where I have, this is my semester office. So this is, where we are. And so things will start to change when you least realize it, right? So, so some images are going to start appearing, and these are images that I have like pre-selected, unless of course, we have people who are, showing us, who want us to, add something into this mix that we're doing. So I'm slowly, you see me, but then you start to not see me. And so we start to kind of do this, this mix. And so, I'm on water right now. And now I'm going to start, I call this like digital stitching, like digital knitting, where I am knitting together a story and, things are going to start shifting. So, yeah. And so usually so again, I was in my office, and so we're traveling somewhere together. So let's see. So I usually get into this meditative state when I do this work, because I want to relay like a message at times. I want to take the time to like play and to start really figuring out how am I going to start mixing this image, how am I going to start manipulating it, and what are the images that we're going to start seeing. So it's very contemplative. It's it's fun. So some of the images get very tranquil and things like that, and very relaxing. But then sometimes the images turn weird, and sometimes like can get a little creepy. So that's something that I really enjoy doing, because I think that especially when you're like an introverted person or anything like that, there's different layers to people. There's really, really different things that are happening there to people. And I think I'm always fascinated by the kind of stories that we have of other people, and then suddenly it's not what you think it was. So yeah, I don't know if anybody would like to, you're welcome to type in the chat of an image that you want me to insert. And it could be like, you could type a word in and I can find an image of that. So we have something here. We have, okay, yes, I have, Rebecca, I have your image. So I'm going to slowly start incorporating that. So Rebecca has sent me an image, and I'm going to insert that. So now I have Rebecca's image in here, and it's a still image. It's really nice. So it's been incorporated into this piece that we're making right now. Again, I'm still here. It's too bad my computer is running a little slowly than usual, but I think it's because I have the program and Zoom open at the same time. So, I also work best with music. I work best because I'm able to edit to a rhythm. And, you know, like some of the music that I listen to while it's more of like a, not so much lyrics. I don't really like to use a lot of lyrics to the work that I'm doing because I don't know, like I don't want the lyrics to influence what I'm attempting to create. And so I think that more ambient music is always better. So I just got another image. Great, thank you. And so I'll slowly start incorporating this. So something that I like about making these pieces is and I'm gonna wait for that image to download, but something I really like about making these pieces is that, you know, sometimes we have errors and glitches. And well, ultimately, all of this is one big glitch. You know, all of this is not meant, the image is not meant to be manipulated in this way. So I think that's kind of like life, right? So um, we have our moments where things are normal and they appear like a certain way or whatever, and suddenly like there's a shift and things aren't what they appear to be. And so, you know, like, oh no, like that's a mistake, that's an error, that is something terrible that's happening. And we can look at it this way, or we can think about how can we shift, how can we pivot the way that we're seeing this imagery. So that is where you have to be able to take a look and see, you know, where is the beauty in this error? Where can I, you know, what can I learn? What's something new that I can do with the information that I've been just given? How can I shift? So let's see, waiting for this to open up. Okay, so I have another image by Janelle. So I have this theory called, it's not really a theory. So here we go. So we have Janelle's image in there. It's a still. And you're welcome to type in a word in there, and I can find a moving image in there. And so I have this word called, or this phrase that I use in this digital stitching, where, well, first of all, I call it digital stitching because there is like different like breakdowns, and there's like sometimes like there's like a coding, there's a pattern that we follow and when we create these works, and you know, sometimes we got to unravel it. And you know, sometimes you have to start all over from scratch, and sometimes we don't. Sometimes we have to improvise with what we have, and what we have available, like the digital yarn that I have available, the color that I have on me. So this is where digital, the beauty within the errors comes from. So I could be like, oh no, like I messed up, and you know, like, oh, it's not great and I didn't want it to be this way or whatever. Or I could just, again, I shift and be like, there's like a piece there. Something is, you know, I can work with this. I can look at this, or, you know, the literal and the figurative, look at it in a different way. And so, oh, that's interesting. There's a lot of blue there. No, now there's a lot of red. Great. So hi. So we can start to sort of see some of my figure back again. And you have like a basic like outline of what I look like based from the earlier me introducing myself and things like that. So there are other secret images that I insert there that you know, I want you to figure out what they are. So sometimes I overload certain images on there, and then there is like this huge glitch that happens, where you know, it's like, whoa, what just happened? Like, even for me, it's just like, oh wow, I didn't know that could do that. So so that's always like really cool when that happens. And I can't really say that really happens a lot in like real life, you know, because like we get like sideswept when something like happens like big in our life, and we didn't expect it. So um but we can do that when it comes to the art that we make and the creations that we do, where we can accept these errors and we can make something new of it, right? So so there are new things that happen, and this, and the narrative starts to change. And so you know, like we are able to manipulate what we want to see and what we want to show and what we want to project and screen. And we have a little bit more say in that. So that is where beauty within the errors comes from, where we are, again, like testing things out, seeing what sticks, being open with mistakes and errors. And then like new narratives, new forms form off of that. And it's really not as terrible as it could be. That it could be presented as. I could be like, oh no, I messed up, and get really bogged down and get really into my mind off of that. Or I could just really, you know, see what can I do with this recycled material, this error, this, you know, the stitch that I just made. Oh, I messed up in like this part here, so I'm gonna have to unravel, right? So I'm unraveling all of these things, and I see where I made the error, or I not unravel it. I don't attempt to fix it, and I just roll with it. And I'm like, you know what? That could actually be something that, you know, um, that I can work with. So that's what like art making, it's like, that's like one of the beauties of art making, in that sense, is that you can roll with, you know, some of these mistakes and errors. You can find your own beauty within that. Um, and yeah, I think that that's something that is very relevant to how we present ourselves, and how we, um, you know, how we create our form and our own identities, how we, you know, what we choose to show people, and what we choose to show, to different types of people, and what we choose to show ourselves. So that is what, um, that is what identity and vulnerability means within the digital. To be able to be vulnerable, with yourself, with your art making, and yeah, and how you evolve as an artist. So it's always just like a test, trial, and process, and that is basically the secret to life. um, so yeah, that is what I have to say about this. I am open to questions now.
Thank you so much. I just want to let everybody know that you, I'm pretty certain you have the ability to unmute yourself. Um, Somebody can shake their head if that's not true. But you're free to just unmute yourself to ask your question, or you can type it in the chat if that's easier for you to formulate it. But I first I just wanted to say thank you so much. This is really great. And I have a couple of questions. Some of them are like logistical, and then some of them are a little bit more like this. But my first is, you said that you often create this to music for yourself, but I was wondering if when you present work like this, if it is silent or with the music that you created it with.
Great question. So where does music play into this? Well, I didn't get the chance to play music for this talk just because like I'm actually storytelling at the time, and whenever I do present these pieces in a live setting, nobody ever hears me talk. So sometimes these are like automatic things that I have edited, and I have, you know, I'm projecting off there. Sometimes these are live sessions that I am doing. And when I do them, I edit the best. With music, because there's a rhythm, there's a flow, there is like a tempo. So even this for me is very interesting to hold the meditative space and like headspace that I get into, to be able to pause when I need to share the story, to uh you know um say what I need to say. So yeah, um so when I do it with music, um I'm listening to the music, but at the same time I'm not. It's just like helping me keep tempo of what I'm doing.
Thanks. That makes sense. I was enjoying the, I mean, I guess I was listening to you, so that's like a part of the experience of watching this, but I was enjoying the rhythm of it in its silence. And so I was just wondering about how I might experience it otherwise. Um, Rebecca put a question in the chat. I don't know if the chat is up for you that you can see it, or if you want me to go ahead and read it to
Oh,
you.
please feel free to read as I continue to
Okay.
work on this one.
She says, have you put your images on objects? I'm curious what types of shapes they would be projected on, figures, shapes, or flat screen.
So that's a great question. Thank you, Rebecca. So I I have, because the images have so much layers, so much depth, um, I try, it depends on the image, right? So if it's more of like a narrative piece where we don't have a lot of um, we don't have like a lot of layers and colors and images and things like that, I uh, I can project it off of like, I've tried with like um bed sheets, to try to create like, and I practice a lot of this in my house, um objects that don't have like color, because then the colors won't mash very well, and I try to find it on as many white surfaces, um and sometimes things that can be see-through, right? So a bed sheet, like some of the image can still leak through to the wall. um I can create some other shadows within it. So um yeah, and but because these images are so like busy, sometimes, only sometimes, I mean tonight they're busy because that's what I'm feeling today. um then I try to project off of flatter surfaces that don't, like a wall, or a ceiling, or so it depends on where this image is going. Are the images a little bit softer and more muted, and um or are they like, go to party, like, things are happening, and they're super busy. So yeah, uh, that I would say it depends. If the busier they are, the cleaner I like the background to be, or the space that they're going to be in. But it's not until recently that I started inserting myself, because that's also like an experience. It's also like performative, to um, so that people can see the me like within it, and I'm performing too, and I'm thinking and processing, and like, oh, I need to do this, I need to do that. So yeah. Any other questions that can help people with?
I definitely can ask another question, but don't let me steal other people in here. And I put a comment out to the Facebook chat as well. I I had a question about when you were earlier, when you were talking about the experience of video, and well, one, I just want to comment that I noticed that you seemed multiple times you were like approaching process by saying like, what if, which I really enjoyed. And I wondered if that's because you're a teacher or if that's how you approach art making. And maybe they're intertwined, but that curiosity of like, what happens if we do this? So that was my first question.
Oh, that's a really good one. You know, I was an artist before I ever was a teacher or a professor. Like this is not something that I was like, I'm gonna be a professor. I stumbled upon it, and like I was saying, you know, like, oh, I'm gonna go along with it. We're gonna do this because I was like, you know, I'm gonna wait until I'm like older or you know but the curiosity like to go into this realm of digital art, glitch art, and again, glitch art is purposeful glitch with intention and meaning. um yeah, like I'm a curious person. I've always been curious about why things work the way they do, and I do that with even my own filmmaking, where I'm like, oh, what if I do the lighting this way? What if I do this? Can we do this? And I usually have like a crew and a cast being like, I don't know about the safety implications of that. But the great thing about this is that, you know, I can test it out. There's no like financial like things I have to think about, or like do we have the permits for this? Do we have the locations for this? Um, it's a curiosity of how things work, and I approach myself that way. I believe I'm like a self-aware person. I'm curious about, oh, you know, like, oh, I'm upset about this. Why is that? I am uh you know, I've been thinking about this a lot. Why? What does this mean? So that's how I approach myself as well, like where I'm like, you know, um I feel this way about this matter of things that I'm supposed to be in this box, this checkbox. Why? Why do I have to be this perfect XYZ? So that's how I approach life and my work in general.
Thanks for that. It's taken me personally a lot of time to invite curiosity into my art making. I'm like, harsher, it's less fun. But that dovetails with my other question, and when you were talking about how like can we remove chairs and the kind of like the environment that you're creating. Let's see how concisely I can formulate this question. It made me think about the audience experience, and it reminded me of there's a James Turrell piece at Mass Mocha that I really love, and it's called Big Mist. You're like sitting in a dark room that's like practically pitch dark, and I sat in there for a really long time until my eyes adjusted the first time that I saw the piece.
I know exactly which piece you're talking about. Yep.
So amazing. And what I noticed was once my eyes adjusted, I was able to watch people enter and leave the space. And it was incredible to watch the different ways that people interacted with the darkness. And then I found myself wondering if like that was the point. And I'm very much like, what's the point? You know, like as an art maker myself, which is obnoxious. But and I wonder if that curiosity that you have of like, what happens if we do this? Do you have, do you care? And is there a process for, if you do, learning what that experience is like for viewers? Or do you allow that like just out into the world?
That's so great. I'm so glad you brought that up. I love James Turrell, like, and I know exactly which piece that was because I remember I was like, I thought that was a place to take a break. And I just sat down and I was like, oh, there's a piece here. And so, and as my eyes got adjusted to the light, I I was like, wait a minute, is this like playing with me? Like, is there a piece, or is that just a like, is everything in this museum like an art piece? So I like things like that. I love like play and like having audiences be like, wait a minute, you know, um is this image what I think it is? Is this like you know, this and that? And so, wait a minute, was that just blah blah blah? So I think that that's something that I have such deep appreciation for, because it's daring. It's like some people will get it, some people won't get it. Some of my pieces, I'm okay with it being like in a gallery setting. I project and I walk away. Sometimes I put them up at a party, and uh and it's like the ceiling and people are laughing and dancing and eating, and they're like, like admiring it as the images go by. So um yeah, so it's like it's having play, and having audiences try to guess like what appears next, which is fun. It's like it's like doing magic.
I want to leave room for if anybody else has any questions, or if there's anything in this process, Maria, that came up for you where you're like, oh, I should mention that. But I really appreciate that curiosity a lot, and the playfulness. I think play is a super underestimated, and underutilized creative force.
Right. And being vulnerable with sometimes play leads to confusion and like mistakes and errors. And it's play involves vulnerability, to do it without second guessing yourself or thinking about the repercussions or where it's gonna go. And it's like, will people like it or not? And it's like, but I'm enjoying it and it's fun, and it has people talking. So and that's something that we can absolutely connect with when it comes to identity, and how we evolve and grow and mature or not.
Yeah, it's really play is really connected to learning, and
Yeah.
learning is super vulnerable because usually there's lots of mistakes along the way.
Yeah.
Um, well, I here's one more, and then Rebecca said thank you, so much for your perspective. She really
Rebecca.
enjoyed it, but she had to go, and I'm going to ask one more, and then we'll wrap up. If anybody else has any questions, pop them in the chat. But I was interested in, at one point you said, that one of the things that you enjoy about this medium is that the images that you're receiving or that you're using, that they weren't meant to be manipulated, and you're manipulating them, and so that has all kinds of uncertainty in it. And I was thinking, about how in the beginning of the talk you had said that you had started out in studio art, and um, and something caught my attention about that, in that, when you're dealing with tangible objects, like there is the limitation of their structure, and you can like do things with them that weren't the object's intention. You can like use things in an unpredictable way, but you can't really manipulate a substance past its matter. And so I was thinking, about the unlikely tangible freedom in this medium, and it was interesting to me, just to think about manipulation, And then of course it made me think about just this general time and how we're adapting all kinds of things and manipulating all kinds of things for other use to cope and connect.
Right, right. And that's so important to know that you know, some things don't have limits, that, you know, you can, especially within the digital, like it's daunting at times because it's like, oh, you know, there's so many options, like there's so many buttons, there's so many images that I could do this and do that. And I have an appreciation for the digital realm because if I'm painting, I ran out of paint and well, all right, I guess I gotta go buy some more paint, or I ran out of yarn, I ran out of this, and of creating in this realm, I feel like I haven't run out of images. Some of these images are, you know, like I wouldn't be able to do this in like a Zoom meeting for work, like, you know, so like my own image cannot be, isn't meant to be manipulated in Zoom, right? But then when, but then I can create something really great with it, and entertain people and have people question. This is totally not like encouraging people to start like messing with their Zoom meetings images or anything like that, but to think about more so of like what do you see in front of you, and are there other ways to see the different layers that come off of it? Are there other ways that I can interact with it, and what I see the only thing that I'm seeing, and is there other things that are happening in the background, in the foreground, in the middle ground that can resonate with me?
Wow, thank you so much for this. It was really, really great. It was really just what I had hoped for, truly. It was really awesome to hear about your process and the parts of the process that are interesting to you right now. I like didn't expect there to be art making, and that was an amazing delight. And so great. Thank you so much for being a part of this. I really appreciate it.
Yeah, thank you as well, Janelle, for having me, and to the Amazing Things Art Center. Yeah, you know, I'm very happy to be able to share my work and create something really great with y'all.
Yeah, I hope that we can connect again once we can have in-person work. I would love that.
Absolutely, me too.
All right. Thank you so much for being here. And I'm going to say goodnight. And the video will be up on Facebook. It's recorded, you know, Facebook Live. And so it'll be there for people to view after the fact. You can send people that over there to check it out. And there are more coming on Thursdays. So check them out too if you're interested in this program. Thank you so much, Maria. I really appreciate it.
Thank you all. Have a good one. Bye.